Hi everyone, welcome back to a new post today, and first and foremost happy Diwali to everybody. So just some time back I had started a series on the preliminaries questions for June. I had started it from June immediately after the preliminary examination of 2023, but due to various reasons I had to stop it, and then let's continue today with the auspicious occasion of Diwali with the continuation of the preliminary questions for the month of June. So let's today cover the part 1 of the preliminary questions for the month of June from the week of June 10th to 16th. So the very first one is Pragati. So Prime Minister chaired the 42nd meeting of Pragati. Pragati means proactive governance and timely implementation. It is a ICT based multimodal platform for both the centre and the states to review the implementation of various schemes and also for redressal of grievances. So not only to review the implementation of the schemes of the centre and the state, but also for redressal of grievance. Now it is a unique integrating interactive platform aimed at addressing common man's grievances and also monitoring and reviewing the implementation of various programs and projects of the Government of India as well as the state government project. The first time Pragati was launched was in 2015, and the issues to be flagged before the PM are taken from the available database regarding the public grievance from the Prime Minister's office. It will also take into consideration the correspondence to Prime Minister's office by common people or from high dignitaries of the states and also developers of public projects. The Union Government chairs it along with Prime Minister, and they are included on board the government's secretaries as well as the chief secretaries as well. Number 2 is e-Samiksha. So e-Samiksha is an online monitoring and compliance mechanism that has been developed for compliance, fast tracking of compliance of pending actions, proposals, issues, projects, schemes, targets, and also various implementing agencies like the ministries, departments, organizations of the Government of India and the state government as well. The system has been developed in such a way that it will enhance efficiency, transparency, and also bring correspondence and improve the communication between the government to government, that is centre, and the states and local government, and also the government to business and vice versa. Number 3 is Cyclone Biparjoy. Now it is the longest lasting cyclone that happened in the month of June in Arabian Sea. Biparjoy, the name was suggested by Bangladesh, and it means disaster or calamity in Bengal. The naming of the cyclone is done by countries on a rotational basis following certain existing guidelines, and the IMD is the regional cyclone naming organization of the WMO. The Arabian Sea has a larger area in comparison to the Bay of Bengal, and hence the cyclones are longer and they move at a slow pace. Even in 2019, there was the cyclone called as Kayar in Arabian Sea, and it lasted 19 days and 15 hours. Biparjoy has a duration of almost 11 days, and it had a landfall in Gujarat and Pakistan. Number 4 is SCO Foreign Ministers meeting in Goa. Now the SCO heads of member states include China, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Pakistan, Russia, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, and India. So India organized the 22nd summit of the SCO Council of Heads of State, and before this there was a meeting of the foreign ministers. The most special thing that happened during this time is that it was organized in Goa, the foreign ministers meeting of the SCO, and it was for the very first time in 12 years that the foreign minister now existing Bilawal Zardari Bhutto of Pakistan came to India. The 22nd SCO summit was held virtually. The fifth one is a UNGA resolution on setting up of a war memorial. Now this UNGA resolution on setting up of a war memorial, a resolution was adopted by consensus on majority of almost 190 countries, which was piloted by India to build a war memorial in the UN premises of the fallen war heroes. Let me tell you that India is the third largest contributor to the uniformed personnel in the United Nations, with more than 6,000 military and police personnel deployed to Abyei, Central African Republic, Congo, Lebanon, Middle East, and Western Sahara. There is also a United Nations Special Committee for Peacekeeping Operations. Now, peacekeeping is an important part because peace, security, and good relations are a part of the main objectives of the United Nations Charter. 6th is International Day of Yoga. The 9th International Day of Yoga was celebrated on June 21st, the day of the summer solstice. It serves as a platform for raising awareness about the unique and the various benefits of yoga. This theme of International Day for Yoga is very important. It is Yoga for Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam and Yoga for the welfare of all in the form of one world, one family, which is the theme of the G20 presidentship. On the occasion of International Day of Yoga, the Navy performed yoga on the INS Vikrant. It was since 2015 that June 21st has been selected as the International Day of Yoga by the United Nations, and this was piloted by India, which aims to raise awareness on the benefits of yoga and Asian practice. As I told you, this day is the summer solstice. Now, this year marks the 9th International Day of Yoga, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi performed yoga at the United Nations headquarters in June 21st, 2023 for the very first time. The main goal of International Day of Yoga is to spread the word about yoga in a holistic way to improve mental and physical health. Number 7 is the World Bank launches the first road safety project, and that too in Bangladesh. Now, the World Bank is one of the major international financial institutions that provides loans and grants to the governments of low and middle income countries for the purpose of pursuing capital projects. Now, World Bank is a collective name of 5 organizations, that is the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, International Development Association, International Finance Corporation IFC, Multilateral International Guarantee Agency OMEGA, and the International Center for Settlement of Investment Disputes. These together called what is called as the World Bank Group. Now, the World Bank is implementing the first dedicated road safety project in South Asia with an amount of USD $358 million. Financing agreement has been signed with Dhaka, and the project seeks to improve road safety and reduce fatalities and injuries from road crashes in selected cities and high-risk highways and district roads. 2 national highways of Bangladesh, that is the Ghazipur-Elanga National Highway 4 and the Nator-Nawabganj National Highway 6, will be taken up for implementation of this pilot project, the very first of World Bank in South Asia. The project is a pilot comprehensive road safety measure, including improving engineering design, signage, marking, pedestrian facilities, speed enforcement, and emergency care. These measures will help to reduce the traffic deaths by more than 30% in 2 of these highways of Bangladesh. Now, and coming on to number 8 is a 111 International Labour Conference. So that was organized recently. I think I've missed out on this. Let us move to number 9, that's Jal Jeevan Mission. Jal Jeevan Mission envisages to provide safe and adequate drinking water to the individuals with functional household tap pole connections by the year 2024. The Jal Jeevan Mission was announced by the Prime Minister Narendra Modi in 2019 as a part of celebration of 73rd Independence Day. As on date, 6 states, namely Goa, Telangana, Haryana, Gujarat, Punjab, Himachal Pradesh, and 3 union territories, Puducherry, Dadar and Daman and Diu, Dadar and Nagar Haveli, which have been merged now, and Andaman and Nicobar Islands have 100% coverage of functional safe drinking or household tap connections. And number 10 is the G20 Tourism Working Group. The Ministry of Tourism launched the Tourism Working Group G20 in Goa. Now, G20's Tourism Tourism Working Group is one of the 5 interconnected priority areas. They are green tourism, digitalization, skills tourism, MSMEs, and destination management. The G20 works, let me tell you, on 3 major tracks. 2 are official and 1 is unofficial. The official tracks are the finance track and the Sherpa track, and the unofficial track is the engagement group or the civil society groups. The finance track started with the meeting of is always conducted by the grouping of the finance ministers and the central bank governors. So the heads of states do not attend the finance track. The Sherpa track is established after the forums became a leaders summit in 2008, and it consists of the heads of state. So the Sherpa track is attended by the heads of states, and the unofficial track contains the engagement with the civil society groups. These often draft the recommendations to the G20 leaders that contribute to policy making process. The engagement for groups are as follows, like Business 20, Civil 20, Labour 20, Parliament 20, Science 20, SAI 20, Startup 20, Think 20, Urban 20, Women 20, and Youth 20, all of which meetings were recently held during the presidency of G20. The 11th most important issue is Suriname and Serbia. You need to locate these places in the map. Now, President Draupadi Murmu, was there for the first visit to Suriname and Serbia. She was a chief guest in celebrations of 150th anniversary of arrivals of Indians in Suriname. Serbia, from which Kosovo declared independence, does not recognize the sovereignty of Kosovo, however, as the backing of China, Russia, and 5 other European nations which do not recognize the country. And at number 12, the strengthening opening of 1,500 urban cooperative banks. Now, the centre announced four most important initiatives for urban cooperative banks in the country. The measures have been notified by the RBI recently. They are: number one, allowing the urban cooperative banks to open new branches, permitting these banks for one-time settlement on par with the commercial banks, giving them 2 or more years for meeting the priority sector lending targets, and number four is designating a nodal officer in the RBI. Now, about 1,500 totally as of today, there are 1,551 urban cooperative banks. Now they will have a self-regulatory body named as National Urban Cooperative Finance and Development Corporation, which will be a single window to upgrade all the member banks into a single core banking platform, and their quasi-regulator as well. So what exactly are urban cooperative banks? So urban cooperative banks are primary cooperative banks situated in urban and semi-urban areas, catering to the financial needs of small borrowers as well as businesses. Cooperative bank members, both customer and owner of the bank, they are the customer as well as the owner of the bank. They democratically elected. The democratic members control these banks and who elect the board by themselves as directors. They are established by state laws, such as the cooperative banks are registered under the Cooperative Societies Act of India. And number 13 is WHO recently highlighted the benefits of Har Ghar Jal कार्यक्रम, which was launched by Prime Minister Narendra Modi under the Jal Shakti Abhiyan in 2019. So Har Ghar Jal कार्यक्रम was set to reduce the public health and increase the public health and economic savings of the people. The program aims to provide every rural household with affordable and regular access to adequate supply of clean, safe drinking water through taps that are functional. The program's components align with WHO and UNICEF's joint monitoring program for water supply, sanitation, hygiene to monitor the progress of the Sustainable Development Goal 6.1, that says safely manage drinking water services for all. And number 14 is the Peace Committee to facilitate the dialogue in Manipur. Now, the Government of India constituted a peace committee in Manipur with the chairmanship of the Governor of Manipur. The members of the committee include the Chief Minister, a few ministers of the state government, the MP, MLAs, leaders from different political parties. The committee also is also having former civil servants, educationalists, literatures, artists, social workers, representatives from different ethnic groups. The mandate of the committee is to facilitate peacemaking process with the various ethnic groups. Let me tell you, in Manipur, there was a community conflict between the Meitei and the Kuki, predominantly because the Kukis were against the giving of scheduled tribe status to the Meiteis, who are the Hindu community tribes, and the Kukis are predominantly Christian. So the Kukis say that they will the giving of the scheduled tribe status to the Meiteis will strengthen their influence on the government and society and allowing them to buy their land and settle in the predominantly Kuki areas. There was a Paris Diamond. Number 15 is Paris Diamond League. India's Murli Sri Shankar finished third in the men's long jump event at the Paris Diamond League in 2023 in France. The Diamond League is a highly competitive annual league organized by the World Athletics. And number 16 is the Rashtriya Vayushri Yojana. Now, the Rashtriya Vayushri Yojana is a scheme for providing physical aids and assisted living devices for the senior citizens belonging to the BPL category. It is a central sector scheme fully implemented by the central government. The expenditure for the implementation is taken from a fund called as the Senior Citizen Welfare Fund, and the scheme is being implemented by Artificial Limbs Manufacturing Corporation, a PSU, under the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. As per the census of 2011, the population of the senior citizen is 10.38 crore. More than 70% of the population of senior citizens live in rural areas. A sizable percentage, 5.2% of the senior citizens, suffer from various sort of disabilities in old age. Projections indicate that the number of the elderly population will increase to 173 million in 2026. At number 17 is the CAG organized the Supreme Audit Institutions Summit as a 3-day summit under India's presidency in Goa. The Supreme Audit Institution is the engagement group of audit organizations belonging to the G20 countries. CAG Girish Chandra Murmu delivered the inaugural address of the summit. The Sci-20 engagement group have two priority areas. One is the blue economy and also responsible artificial intelligence. Blue economy is a sustainable use of oceanic resources for economic growth, improved livelihoods and also jobs while preserving the health of the ecosystem. MOUs were signed for cooperation and knowledge sharing between Turkey, Indonesia and India. Now, the CAG is a supreme audit institution of India established under Article 148 of the Indian Constitution. They are empowered to audit all the receipts and expenditures of the government of the state and also the state government, including those of autonomous bodies that are and also corporations established by the government and financed by the government. The CAG is a statutory authority of the government-owned corporations and conducts supplementary audit of the government companies in which the government has an equity share of at least 51% or a subsidiary company of existing government companies. So CAG is a statutory auditor or even of the body called as the Lokpal. So INS Trishul is the 18th issue. The INS Navy frigate INS Trishul departed from South African port of Durban very recently. It had been there in Durban in South Africa. It is a goodwill tour to mark several events and also India and South Africa are celebrating 30 years of relations between them. And this visit is also a part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, marking 150 years of India's independence. The visit also marks 130 years ago when Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, that is the father of the nation, went to St. Petersburg station, and the incident triggered his establishment of Satyagraha, where he faced racism against the against the black population. I'm sorry. And the 19th one is Sacred Portal for Senior Citizen. Now, seniors able citizens for re-employment in dignity. The acronym SACRED stands for Senior Able Citizens for Re-employment in Dignity. It is an IT platform that brings senior citizens, employment seekers, and employment providers together. The portal was launched by Department of Social Justice and Empowerment, which functions under the Ministry of Empowerment and Social Justice, and it was launched in 2021. Number 2 is Sagar Parikrama. It is launched by the Ministry of Fisheries, Animal Husbandry and Trading. It is an outreach program intended to reach out to the fisher community across the entire coastal belt. The initiative has been launched to understand the issues, experiences, aspirations of the fishermen and also to create awareness about the various schemes and programs of the central government to the fishermen in the coastal areas. Phase 9 was launched recently, and in the phase 8, the states of Gujarat, Daman, Diu, Maharashtra, Goa, Karnataka, Kerala, Puducherry and Andaman and Nicobar Islands were covered. There is a scheme called as Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana, which is being implemented by the fishermen community. And number 21 is the net zero emission target by 2020. Now, India accepted this target at the COP26 in 2021 and announced that it will achieve net zero by 2017, and this is part of the Paris Agreement. Also, India also has a long-term low carbon development strategy which is based on the principles of equity and climate justice and principles of common but differentiated responsibilities and respective capabilities. Net zero simply means the balance between the amount of greenhouse gases that are emitted and also that are removed from the atmosphere, and this can be achieved by a combination of emission reduction and emission removal as well. And number 2 is Bolgati Iron was in news because it is in Kochi, off the coast of Kochi, I'm sorry, and it organized the third framework group of the finance track. Now, Japan was in news because of a massive earthquake. You should know that it is situated in the Northwest Pacific Ocean and is bordered by the west by the Sea of Japan, extending all the way from Sea of Okhotsk in the north to East China Sea and Philippine Sea and Taiwan Sea in the south. Japan is a part of the Ring of Fire also, this is very important, and spans an archipelago of 14,000 islands. 5 main islands are important: Hokkaido, Honshu, Shikoku, Kyushu and Okinawa. And 24th is World Day Against Child Labour. June 12th was celebrated as World Day on Child Labour. United Nations declared 2021 as the International Year for Eradication of Child Labour. Constitution speaks against child labour, and the slogan for World Day for Child Labour was social justice for all, end child labour. Let me tell you that it was in 1979 that India formed the first committee called as Gurupadaswamy Committee to study the issue of child labour. Labour is in the concurrent list. Factories Act 1948 prohibits the employment of child below the age of 14 years. Mines Act 1952 prohibits the employment of children below the 18 years in a mine, and Child Labour Act 1986 defines child as a person below 14 years and prohibits employment of child in any employment, including domestic help, except helping own family in non-hazardous occupations. So these are the laws which deal with child labour. And finally, we have National Hydrogen Mission. It aims to make India a global hub for production, usage and also export of green hydrogen and its derivatives. These will contribute to India's aim of becoming Atmanirbhar in clean energy and also serve as an aspiration for global clean energy transition as well. And the mission will lead to decarbonization of the economy and also one of the major landmarks in achieving net zero emission by 2070, will reduce the dependence on fossil fuel imports, enable India to assume technology and market leadership in green hydrogen. And this is about the first part for June prelims questions from 9 to 16. I shall see you in my next post with part 2, and until then, it's very happy learning and happy Diwali once again.